I'd like to call this meeting to order. Thank you everyone for coming. Brenda, can I get a roll call, please?
Mrs. Cicchini?
Here.
Mr. D'Agostino?
Here.
Mrs. Belli is not here. Mrs. Simmons is not here. Mrs. Space?
Here.
Mrs. Valone?
Here.
Mrs. Whitty is not here. Mrs. Alvari?
Here.
Mrs. Tortorella?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Can everyone please join me in the flag salute? I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meetings of the public bodies at which any business affecting their interest is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of the Act, the Sussex-Wantage Regional School District Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published and having the date, time, and place thereof posted in the school building and notice of said meeting sent to the New Jersey Herald and the Star Ledger. The Sussex-Wantage School District Mission Statement. The Sussex-Wantage Regional School District is a responsive, caring, child-centered community. Our mission is to educate each individual to become a confident, competent, lifelong learner and productive, responsible citizen by providing challenging opportunities in a safe environment through a partnership of families, schools, and communities. At this time, I would like to move on to the report of the Superintendent of Schools.
Thank you. One of the goals of the Community Outreach Committee was to engage our student council up at Sussex Middle School to a greater degree. So we have some representatives here this evening to kind of do a concise little report out on what's been happening in the student council.
Good evening, Mr. Gold, members of the Board of Education, Mr. Schwartz, and community members. My name is Trevor Unix, and I'm president of the Student Council.
I'm Carly Carly, the vice president, and we are here to tell you about what has been happening at the Sussex Middle School for the month of April. We were taken from Sussex Middle School on a magic carpet ride to Aberha in Disney's Aladdin Jr. this past month. The cast and crew of Aladdin Jr. performed 3 spectacular performances and was sad to see it come to an end. At the beginning of each play, Baylor's Club sold water. Proceeds from the sale are being donated to the Round McDonald House.
Track has begun as well, with over 70 students participating and has had 3 successful meets. The National Junior Honor Society hosted the 5th graders and took them on tours around the middle school and tutored students at Wantage School this past month. Student Council hosted a Spirit Week this week with students dressed like teachers and teachers dressed like students. Grade colors, dress alike day, hat day, and tomorrow is superhero day. We are ending the month of April with state testing next week. Thank you for allowing us to share with you this evening some of the activities that we have been working on here at Sussex Middle School.
Thank you. I mean, you totally stole my thunder. Great job. Now I'd like to invite Mr. Schwartz up to present this month's Students of the Month.
Good evening, Mr. Gall, Ms. Tortorella, members of the board, and members in our audience tonight. Tonight, our Students of the Month have come highly recommended by their teachers and demonstrate many of the values we hold in high regard within our school. These values include respect, responsibility, effort, and empathy. As I present each student with their certificate this evening, you will clearly see how they demonstrate these values and all that they do to add to our school community. The 6th grade Student of the Month is Ethan Sparta. Ethan stated that his favorite subject area is mathematics. Ethan indicated that he has always had a good understanding of this content area, and he knows that it will certainly help him when he gets older. Ethan is very interested in becoming an architectural engineer someday, where he will certainly put those math skills to test. Outside of school, Ethan is an active young man participating in baseball, football, and enjoying fishing in his free time. Ethan's teacher stated the following: Ethan is a responsible and conscientious student who goes above and beyond with his schoolwork. He has a great sense of humor and is such a realist. He continues to keep his peers on track and is a great leader. Ethan is respectful to staff, himself, and his peers, and exemplifies the 4 pillars of SMS. He is going to go far here at SMS, and we cannot wait to see where his life takes him. It is with great pride that I introduce Ethan as the 6th grade student. The 7th grade student of the month is Allison Ross. Allison is an active young lady who enjoys playing volleyball and cheerleading. In addition to these activities, Allison is involved in Club Etra and Builders Club here at SMS and is looking to pursue her dream of becoming an oncology nurse someday. Allison's teacher stated the following when nominating her. Allison exemplifies the 4 pillars of Sussex Middle School in all of her classes. She is respectful to her teachers, peers, and other adults within the building. Allison completes her work on time and seeks out feedback on how to improve, especially with her writing pieces. Allison encourages her peers to do their best and demonstrates empathy to all, regardless of whether the student is a friend or not. Allison advocates for herself, recognizes areas where she needs assistance, and responds accordingly. We are all looking forward to seeing all of the great things that Allison will continue to bring to SMS in the future. It is with great pride that I introduce Allison as the 7th grade student. In 8th grade, our Student of the Month recipient is Evan Fisher. Evan is an active young man who can be found on a basketball court or a baseball field on any given day. He looks to continue to find success in both of these sports as he moves on to high school and ultimately follow a career path in sports science. His teacher stated the following: Evan is a very capable, conscientious student. He always completes his work and is a good example to his friends and peers around him. Evan has quite the sense of humor that enhances the classroom environment, and he is a pleasure to work with. We are all looking forward to his success in high school, and he will certainly be missed. As we say goodbye to Evan at the end of the year, I can say that he has a skill set and attitude that will continue to lead him to success. We all look forward to seeing his achievements along the way and thank him for the positive impact he has made on the SMS community. It is with great pride that I introduce Evan as the 8th grade student of mine. Congratulations, Evan. Great job.
Thank you, Mr. Schwartz, and congratulations again to all of our recipients. While we always encourage everyone to stay for the duration of the meeting, if you did not want to, now would be an opportune time to take off. We take a little intermission. I'm going to invite Mrs. Riker up to do this year's budget presentation. Thank you.
Good evening. We have a short presentation on our proposed 2024-2025 budget. Just a few of the slides that we'll be going over: our curriculum initiatives for the upcoming year, staffing additions, capital projects or other capital money being spent, and the estimated tax levy. Under our curriculum initiatives, we are maintaining district average class sizes across the board in all grade levels. We are, through K-5 digital and print copies, the Into Reading textbooks, iScience materials for grades 6 to 8, and Discovery Education Science and Social Studies textbooks K to 8. Additional staffing that is in addition to the existing staff that we currently have. We're going to be adding a district tier 3 math instructor and a general education teacher at Wantage because we have a blip of enrollment in one of the grade levels, so we need to add a teacher to keep our class sizes consistent with this year. So included in this year's budget, that is either facility repairs and maintenance or capital project. And all of these projects are being funded by monies that we put into our capital and maintenance reserves. So at Lawrence, we're gonna be installing sinks in some restrooms, new sinks in some restrooms. We're gonna finish the pre-K fence and do some site work, crack sealing in the parking lots, and we're gonna be adding additional parking. This is due to the us having pre-K starting this year. There's just a need for additional parking there.
And then just to add, when we did our walkthrough with facility members, you know, there was a lot of debate about where do we invest those monies. So one idea has been parking, which we talked about, some folks who have that experience, it gets a little tight at Lawrence School. Also continuing to expand, brainstorm and wait for some more figures to come back on. There's a storage space that could potentially be converted to a classroom space, it's coming back exceedingly high. I don't know if we'll be able to do that. And we're looking at the potential for modular classrooms, we haven't gotten figures on that yet, so we're continuing to kind of keep the door open to a variety of things.
At Wantage, we will be doing steam traps, epoxying the restroom floor in the OTPT room, installing a drop ceiling in room 31, crack sealing of the parking lot, and replacing the mini split in the media center. At the middle school, we're gonna be replacing a classroom door in room 105, replacing the sidewalk behind the solar lot, which is this sidewalk out here. In district and technology, we're going to be adding a small backup generator for the board service room, where most of our computer equipment for the entire district is kept, and we're just looking to protect that the best way we can. And as we do every year, we're gonna be adding additional security cameras to our existing inventory of those. The estimated school year tax levy, we are coming in at a 4.42 increase over last year's tax levy. For Wantage Township, the average home is assessed at $263,816. That's resulting in a 4.17 overall increase in tax, $12.13 estimated per month, or $145.60 estimated school year. For Sussex Borough, on the average home assessed at $184,346, there's a 5.81 overall increase in tax, $11.17 estimated increase per month, and $134.10 estimated school year. That is our presentation.
I just wanna thank the board, Mrs. Riker, you know, I've said it before at the podium, but when I originally started as superintendent, we kind of got notified that a lot of districts in Sussex County, you were gonna experience significant cuts, and we were having very real conversations about brainstorming which school to close and where we were gonna put all those kids. And through a multi-year plan, different board members, collaboration with SWIA, stakeholders, we were able to avoid a lot of things that other districts you may have read about in the news, massive layoffs and reductions of staff, you know, some closing facilities, selling facilities, things like that. It started with the consolidation of administrators way back when, and now it's progressed that this would be the final year projected of those potential cuts, and I think it was $3.5 million anticipated.
Yeah.
So just a you know, note of commendation to everybody who helped with that. I know it's not an easy job, it's a volunteer job, and you're charged with making very difficult decisions about, you know, balancing taxpayers' needs with student needs, and no matter who's been on the board, I wanna commend you on the job you've done with that, because it's been great, very thoughtful, conscientious. Thank you. I don't think the kids stole my thunder. I'm looking forward to them every month.
Alright, thank you. Alright, so at this time, we'll move on to the audience remarks. Members of the audience are invited to make brief comments about items on this agenda and matters of interest to the dish. Tell me that.
Unlock it.
Alright, maybe listening. Sorry about that, y'all. I will repeat what I just said. Okay, audience remarks. Members of the audience are invited to make brief comments about items on this agenda and matters of interest to the district. Are there any?
I just have a question of what we just talked about. How many parking spots are going to be added? Do we
Yeah, so
know?
for
And how much is it gonna cost?
Yeah, so for consideration on the agenda, is a possibility of architects getting more significantly involved, like planning it out. So if the board approves that, then they'll be able to design it. The initial assessment, just walking through that portion of the property we're talking about, if I'm coming up Ryan Road where Tractor Supply is on my right, you look to your left, there's an exit coming out of Lawrence School, so right to the left of that exit is a patch of grass, right in front of the new
Right.
pre-K playground is what we're talking about. When they originally walked it, they're gonna ballpark it at probably 20 to 30 spaces somewhere in there, probably leaning more towards 20. And then they pulled, to give us an idea of what we might anticipate, they pulled a district that was the closest to a job that they had, which I think was in Randolph. And do you remember what that came in with, Mrs. Riker, for?
I think like 350.
350, a little north of 350 maybe. And when you do projects in schools, like the initial planning and design portion of it's now, by the time you get to bid, there's a lot of things that can impact that. Asphalt, is directly correlated with the price of oil, so as those things fluctuate, but that's a general idea.
Right.
Just to note, for the board's consideration too, we've talked about how to expand the back parking lot, because I'll drive through there, I make an estimate, probably on a daily basis, you could probably get 10 to 12 more people back there, so we're looking at some different access points to the building where somebody could enter through the rear. So that's on the board's agenda for consideration tonight too.
Any other public comments? Seeing none, at this time we'll move on to the board secretary certification fee.
Pursuant to NJAC 6A 23A-16.10C3, I certify that as of March 31st, 2024, no line item account has encumbrances and expenditures which in total exceed the line item appropriation in violation of NJAC 6A 23A-16.10A.
Thank you, Mrs. Riker. At this time, we'll move on to the approval of board minutes for February 29th, 2024 regular and executive session, as well as March 14th, 2024 regular and executive session.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you,
I'll second.
thank you. Roll call, please.
Mr. D'Agostino?
Yes.
Mrs. Cicchini?
Yes.
Mrs. Space?
Yes.
Mrs. Valone?
Yes.
Mrs. O'Barry?
Yes.
Mrs. Tortorella?
Yes,
Minutes are approved.
thank you. We do not need to go into executive session at this time, so we'll move on to the presentation of agenda items for committee.
Thank you. Under personnel, I move items 1 through 22.
Can I get a motion?
I'll second.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Valone?
Yes.
Mrs. Space? Yes. Mrs. Cicchini?
Yes.
Mr. D'Agostino?
Yes.
Mrs. O'Barry?
Yes.
Mrs. Tortorella?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Under policy, I'd like to move items 1 through 4 with a note by Mrs. Wright.
I need to read resolution number 4 into the public record, so it is lengthy. It's a matter before the School Ethics Commission, agency docket number 361-1223, SEC docket number T2223, resolution of removal, Sussex-Wantage Regional School District Board of Education, Sussex County. Whereas Courtney Malafite is a school official as defined in the School Ethics Act, serving as member of the Sussex-Wantage Regional School District Board of Education located in Sussex County at all times relevant to the matter at issue in the above caption matter. And whereas by decision dated December 19, 2023, the School Ethics Commission found that the respondent failed to comply with the annual training mandate. The deadline was December 31st, 2022, in violation of NJSA 18A 12-33 and NJAC 6A 28-4.1, and whereas the Commission recommended that the Commissioner of Education impose a penalty of removal, with such removal to become effective immediately upon adoption by the Commissioner of Education. However, if respondent completed training before the Commissioner of Education adopted a final decision, which was 45 days after the mailing date of the Commissioner's decision, then the Commission recommended that the Commissioner of Education, in lieu of removal, impose a 30-day suspension with such suspension to become effective immediately upon adoption by the Commissioner of Education, provided respondent provided written notice of successful completion of the training requirement, and whereas respondent did not complete training following the issuance of the Commission's December 19, 2023 decision, and whereas by decision dated January 23, 2024, and because respondent did not complete training following the issuance of the Commissioner's decision, the Commissioner of Education concurred with the penalty recommended by the Commission and ordered respondent's removal from the board. And whereas NJAC 6A 28-911D provides that for a penalty of censure, suspension, or removal, a resolution shall be adopted at the Commission's next meeting following the Commissioner's imposition of the sanction, and the resolution shall be read at the board's next public meeting following adoption by the Commission, shall be posted in such places as the board posts its public notices for no less than 30 days, shall be published online on the district's website if available for no less than 30 days, and the reading of the resolution shall be memorialized in the board's meeting minutes. And once approved, a copy of the minutes shall be forwarded to the Commission. And now therefore be it resolved, the Commission adopts this resolution stating that the respondent is hereby removed as a school official for having been found to have violated NJSA 18A 12-33 and NJAC 6A 28-4.1, and be it further resolved that the board is ordered to read this resolution at its next regularly scheduled public meeting following the Commission's adoption, to post it in such places as the board posts its public notices for a period of 30 days, and to publish it online on the district's website if available for no less than 30 days. And be it further resolved that the board shall provide the Commission with the minutes once adopted from the meeting at which it reads the within resolution.
Thank you, Mrs. Riker. Can I get a motion?
I'll motion.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, I have discussion on number 4. So the resolution that Mrs. Riker just read, we got, I think it said December 19th, notice that Mrs. Malapite didn't do her training, which was like 5 days before the last meeting of her 3-year term. She had thought she did it, and didn't find out till 11 months later that she didn't. And at that point, she had 1 meeting left, which she didn't attend, so felt like, what's the point of responding now? I'm not on the board. So I don't know, I just think this is a little crazy, that removing someone that's not even on the Board of Education, but that's all.
Roll call, please.
Need a second.
You
Oh, I
can-
have a second,
You have a second, yeah.
Mrs. Silveri?
Yes.
Mrs. Valone?
Yes.
Mrs. Cicchini?
Yes.
Mr. D'Agostino?
No on number 4, yes on the rest.
Mrs. Space?
Yes.
Mrs. Corderella?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Under finance, I'd like to move items 1 through 18.
Can I get a motion?
All motion.
I'll second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. O'Barry? Yes. Mr. D'Agostino?
Yes.
Mrs. Chacchini?
Yes.
Mrs. Space? Yes. Mrs. Malone? Yes. Mrs. Tortorella?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Under special services, I'd like to move items 1 through 12.
Excuse me. Can I get a motion?
A motion.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Space? Yes. Mrs. Malone?
Yes.
Mrs. Chacchini?
Yes.
Mr. D'Agostino?
Yes.
Mrs. O'Barry? Yes. Mrs. Tortorella?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Under curriculum, I'd like to move item number 1.
Can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. D'Agostino?
Yes.
Mrs. O'Barry? Yes. Mrs. Chacchini?
Yes.
Mrs. Space?
Abstain.
Mrs. Malone?
Yes.
Mrs. Tortorella?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Referring to the addendum, under personnel, I'd like to move items 1 through 5.
Can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion. Oh, sorry. I'll second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. O'Barry? Yes. Mr. D'Agostino?
Yes.
Mrs. Chacchini?
Yes.
Mrs. Space? Yes. Mrs. Malone?
Yes.
Mrs. Tortorella?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Under finance, I'd like to move items 1 through 7, just noting, because I know there was discussion about it, that number 6 does authorize the architect to initiate that parking lot process design.
Thank you. Can I get a motion?
I'll second.
Thank you. Any discussion?
I just wanted to thank Mrs. Riker. It looks like the student council stole Mr. Dahl's thunder. Mr. Dahl stole the board's thunder, but just thank you to the budget committee, which was, always hard work and they work diligently to make sure that the children are well taken care of and the taxpayers are well represented. But Mrs. Riker, I know it's her favorite time of year, so just wanted to thank Mrs. Riker mainly.
Thank you.
And just to highlight number 5, when we did our walkthrough, that's to include, Mrs. Riker was on the phone with the legal team this afternoon, making sure we can do both sets of steps at one school, the front steps when you arrive at the main entrance, and then those steps coming off the auditorium.
Any more discussion? Gucci? Okay. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Malone? Yes. Mr. D'Agostino?
Yes.
Mrs. Chacchini?
Yes.
Mrs. Space? Yes. Mrs. O'Barry? Yes. Mrs. Tortorella?
Yes.
Motion carries.
And under special services, I'd like to move items 1 through 4.
Can I get a motion?
I'll motion.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. O'Barry?
Yes.
Mrs. Space? Yes. Mrs. Chacchini?
Yes.
Mr. D'Agostino?
Yes.
Mrs. Malone?
Yes.
Mrs. Tortorella?
Yes.
Motion carries.
And under curriculum, I'd like to move item number 1.
Can I get a motion, please?
I'll motion.
Thank you. Second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Mrs. Malone?
Yes.
Mrs. Space?
Yes.
Mrs. Chacchini?
Yes.
Mr. D'Agostino?
Yes.
Mrs. O'Barry?
Yes.
Mrs. Tortorella?
Yes.
Motion carries.
So now at this time, we'll move on to unfinished business. Does anybody have any unfinished business they would like to discuss? Seeing none, does anybody have any new business that they would like to discuss?
Yeah, I just wanted to bring up, I get a call from a parent regarding potentially bringing back the Washington DC trip for 8th grade. I know we got rid of it several years ago, just wanted to bring that up to the board, because I said I would. Just the parent felt, which I kind of agree with, that a lot of kids will never get to Washington DC and learn American history if they don't have a field trip, whether it's here or in a different school. I know there's a lot of that goes into planning that trip. So I know if that's something the board wanted to do, we would have to start soon for next year, but just wanted to bring that up.
Thank you, Mr. Agostino. We'll definitely take a look with administration. I don't know what the other board members' perceptions are. I can tell you she wouldn't mind that. I got an email from a community parent activist, Jackie Shepherd. How you doing, Mrs. Shepherd? I'm sure she's watching. Who also would like to advocate for that. And I don't know enough about why it was not continued. I know definitely COVID probably operation that, but prior to that, I think it was discontinued. And I don't know. We'd have to do a research on, like, Mrs. Reagan, maybe you would remember, was there any, just because it's the budget, was there additional funding that the board put forward beyond, like, generally, like, every student's allocated $20 for a class trip in the district? Do you remember, like, was, in addition to fundraising, was there more, did we pay for buses or anything like that, or that was just fundraising, $20?
I think we, for those that were needing.
Okay. Yeah, so then the other challenge is that was probably like a multi-year fundraiser. So you're in, you're about a year out, they have to start kind of, getting involved with that.
Anybody else have any new business? Alright, at this time, we'll move on to audience remarks. Members of the audience are invited to make brief comments about items on this agenda and matters of interest to the district. Are there any other comments? Alright, seeing none, we do need to go into executive session, approximately 30 minutes, no action will be taken. Mrs. Riker, if I can get a resolution first.
Whereas pursuant to NJSA 10-4-12B, the Sussex-Wantage Regional Board of Education may exclude the public from that portion of a public meeting at which the board discusses any of the matters described at NJSA 10-4-12B 1-9. Now therefore be it resolved that the Sussex-Wantage Regional Board of Education shall enter into closed session to discuss legal matters. Now therefore be it further resolved by the Sussex-Wantage Regional Board of Education that pursuant to NJSA 10-4-13B, the time when the circumstances under which the discussion conducted in closed session can be disclosed to the public is when the need for confidentiality no longer exists.
Thank you. Can I get a motion to go into executive session?
Motion.
Thank you. Second? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any noes? We'll see you guys in about 30 minutes. Thank you. We are back from public session. Can I get a motion for adjournment?
I'll motion.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any noes?
No.
We are adjourned.